Well, it's been about a month since we harvested the last of our pigs, and you can see that they really did a number on our old garden plot here. The idea was to let the pigs out here and hoping that they would churn this ground up, stir it up, eat a bunch of the roots and the seeds that are hiding down below. If you actually watch pigs root around, they're doing a lot more than just turning ground up with their nose. They're always chewing on something. And I've also noticed that where you have pigs, usually the next year you don't have any weeds. So I'm hoping that works to our advantage out here. But as you can see now, this ground is rock hard and it's starting to crack, which means that it's probably dry enough that I can rototill it. And that's what I'm gonna try to do first today. I wanna get this all worked up so that I can see if I need to do anything else to it before we start transplanting some of our seeds out here. This video is not gonna be all about ground prep for the garden, but that's how it's gonna start. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. Well, I had to hit this 3 times, but it's actually looking pretty good now. And now the chickens are doing what I was hoping they would do after I rototilled this area. They're coming through and scratching and picking any seeds or anything that the pigs left behind. So hopefully by the time we actually plant this and get things growing, our weed pressure will be a lot less. I've still got a pretty soft spot here. I think this is where the pigs dug a big hole and it just filled up with water. This was actually a puddle as I started to rototill, but the reason that I just hit it anyway, because you really shouldn't rototill mud, but the reason that I did is because I think stirring it up a little bit, breaking that crust, is going to help this dry out a little bit faster. After this sits out for a couple days, I'll probably come back with the rototiller and hit it one more time and try to break down the rest of these kind of soft and sticky clods. It looks like we're gonna have enough to plant this year that I went ahead and rototilled this other area up in the original pig pen. And my thought is to put the plants that take up a lot of space out here, such as pumpkins, squash, things like that, that once they get going, they really spread out and cover some ground. I think this would be a good spot for them. And if I do end up putting the pigs in this pen again this year, I'll just run a hot wire or some sort of a fence across to cut this in half. And it'll actually be really nice because when the garden is done, we can just take that down and it'll be really easy to get them in there to tear out this year's garden. It's the next day now. I'm here at the winter pasture picking up the feed wagon, and I do this every other day. Usually I don't film it because it's one of those things where you've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times. As we are getting closer to calving, I use this time to look at the cows a little bit more closely, and I have noticed that my little cow right here is starting to make a little bit of a bag. And that doesn't come as a surprise to me, because if you go back to the video where I turned the bulls out last year, she's the one in the thumbnail getting jumped. So she got bred within like 10 minutes of the bulls being turned loose, and it looks like it must have took. But not only is her bag starting to fill up a little bit, also her vulva is starting to loosen a bit. You can tell when we look at it that it doesn't look normal, and it's kind of hard to explain. The calf is probably right around the corner. Right around the corner could mean a day or two, or it could mean a week or two. Sometimes it's very difficult to predict at this stage, but at least we know the bull got the job done. Well, it looks like everybody's still alive here in the brooder, which is awesome news. And you can tell by the way they're sitting under those heat lamps that they are a little bit too hot. So I think I'm actually going to turn one heat lamp off, at least just for today, and we'll see how they do. I was just pulling out of the ranch here, and I see my SAV Bismarck calf is reaching his head through the fence trying to get some grass. So what I try to do when I see him doing that is I'll go pick him some and try to feed him by hand, and just further my attempt of making friends with him. Fortunately, we got plenty of grass here. I got this for you. Better hurry, that old cow's coming to take it from you. Yeah, see it? Not so bad, huh? Well, you don't scare easy, do you? I guess I'd give you some here. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I'm not trying to make a pet out of him. I just don't want him to be scared when I'm around. When animals are frightened or scared, that's usually when they do unpredictable or dangerous things. I don't need him to be a puppy dog. I just want him to be calm. I want him to be comfortable. And my yearling bull calf was very uneasy around me as well when he was young like that. It wasn't until I weaned him and was bringing him food to the bullpen every day that he really mellowed out, and now he kind of is like a puppy dog. I don't know how that happened, but it did. So I'm hoping that if I lay some good groundwork with this guy, that when I do wean him, that transition will be a little bit easier. Well, everyday chores are done. So I just got back here to the house. Before I get started doing anything else, I need to check on dinner. I want to give you just a little peek there, but I don't want to leave the lid open too long and lose all my heat. So today we're cooking spare ribs. This is not from the pig that we just harvested in January. This would be from the year before. So this is some homegrown pork that we've got going on the smoker today. We're not quite there yet. Oh, the shop. It's getting embarrassing how messy it is. But for me at least, that's the nature of the beast when I got a big project going. I don't really have big plans for this today, but I just got to figure out one thing to clean up and primer. We're gonna have to bust into this head pretty soon, but not today. I think today we'll just paint this radius arm. Done. All right, that's one more piece down. Well, we're in the shop here and I'm thinking about it. I've got a bunch of parts coming for this tractor. And one thing that I'm going to need that I didn't find online, although I haven't looked very hard, I'm sure they're out there, but is this crankshaft pulley. As you can see, mine has seen better days and I don't want to put that one back on there. So I just was kind of thinking, if anybody out there watching happens to have one of these pulleys and you don't want it, send me an email and I would be happy to send you a Farmertylerranch hat in exchange for your pulley. At the beginning of the video, you remember how I said you shouldn't rototill mud? Well, let me show you why. I've got those tines all packed full of mud. I got to get that out of there because I need to unhook from the rototiller and get the box scraper hooked up. Well, there's an hour of my life I can't get back. Before we run down to the ranch, I want to check these ribs because probably won't be back for a little while, so we got to see where they're at. They sure look nice. The way to really know where we're at is to temp these. We got 208, 209, 202. The temperature is anywhere from 201 to 208, I'd say is average. So I'm going to call these done. Not to mention the fact that every time I touch the probe in there, there's virtually no resistance, which also tells me that they're done. Some of you might have noticed that we've got a lot of ruts and just uneven, messed up ground. This is all a result of all the rain that we were getting about a month ago. And I think now we've reached a point where the ground is just dry enough, but still moist enough to come over with the box scraper and smooth all this out. It's kind of a fine line here. You want this ground to be soft enough where the box scraper can cut it, but dry enough that it will pack wherever you put it. We're supposed to get some more rain in a few days, so I wanted to get this done before that happens in hopes that, you know, maybe this will all kind of pack and settle in a little bit better. The feed wagon's in the way, and I really don't want to unhook the box scraper to move it, so I'm going to try to use this chain and see if I can't figure something out. That ought to work. You ready to try this?
Looks good.
Here, you want this? Do you like it?
Yeah.
You want to try this?
I don't know.
Here, it's ribs.
No, thank you.
Okay. Everybody wondered why Macy wasn't in the last taste test. Well, now you know. Well, I think maybe the ribs might have been in there a little bit too long, but we can still eat them. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again. Anyone?